This is a map of Scarborough 1828, one of the earliest decent maps that we have. When you look at the map in more detail, you will see lots of roads and streets that are still there today, but they've all got different names. For example, Queen Street, Aberdeen Walk, St Thomas Street, Huntress Row, they all started off life as different names to what we know them today. I was looking at an 1852 map, which is very good because it's got a lot of names written on it, which the 1828 map didn't have. On that map, I noticed 6 names that I've not seen before. We have Dickinson's Lane, Woodall's Lane, Kirby's Lane, Gibson's Lane, Smith's Lane and Pattison's Lane. Now the question is, where were they, or where are they? So using the 1828 map, we have the following lanes. In order, we've got Dickinson's, Woodall's, Kirby's, Gibson's, Smith's, and finally Pattison's. Now then, in 1828, along the foreshore itself, there was no actual road there, it was all sand. All these buildings were basically facing straight onto the sand, probably a wall to protect them from the sea. Now on Sandside we have the bolts which allows you to get access to the back of properties and yards. Well, it was the same on the foreshore, so these are where the foreshore bolts would have been. Now the houses at the front and the properties at the front were called Neptune Terrace, and behind Neptune Terrace you'll have all the yards, washing places, outside toilets. This photograph's the bottom of Eastborough, although back then it was still called Merchants Row. If you look closely at the photograph, you'll notice that this fish market, all them trestles and stuff, they're actually on sand. So now we're going back to 1852, and this is where all those 6 lanes were first written down. Dickinson's Lane came down from Merchants Row onto Neptune Terrace. Now, if you look carefully at this photograph, you'll see a lot of houses either side of the top of the lane. In 1939, those houses were still there. This is what the area looks like today. Those houses at the top have gone. Here we have our first set of steps. This was at one time Dickinson's Lane. It is now Gillies Steps. This is looking at the bottom of the passage from the beach side. You've got Gillies Leisure Centre on one side, and the other side Sulman's. Sulman's isn't there anymore, by the way, and you can see the passage quite clearly. And there's another view taking you back up to the top of Merchants Row. Now back to 1852 again, and we've got Woodall's Lane. This is the entrance to Woodall's Lane from Eastborough. I've no idea what it's called today. And from the beach side again, this is what it looks like, either side of the casino and another shop. Now we're going to Kirby's Lane. Again, this is 1852, but this time we have a name for it. It's the Rowing Club Steps. And this is the bottom of Rowing Club Steps. Looking up on the left you can see the Rowing Club. And this is the picture of the Rowing Club. Oh, God knows when that was taken. Must be 1890 perhaps. And now we come to Gibson's and Smith's. Now these are slightly different, because if you look carefully at Gibson's, for instance, it goes so far down and then sort of stops, whereas Smith's goes all the way down in front of Neptune Terrace. These are what they look like from Eastborough. This one is Smith's, and that one it'll be Gibson's. That one's obviously got a door. It's probably been built over since then, but you could still go down Smith's Lane, but you can't get up to the bottom. When you get to the bottom, there's that red door prevents you from going any further. The last one is Pattison's Lane, and I'm sure most of us at some time will have gone down this lane. And again we have a name, the Lifeboat Steps. It's been the Lifeboat Steps for a long time now. That's looking down it, and when you get to the beach, That's looking back up. That's looking back up in between Henry Marshall's and the Lord Nelson. And finally, this last photograph at the end of what was Neptune Terrace, it shows you a similar sort of thing with a fish market going on and trestle set up, but this time it's on some sort of concrete slipway. So overall, these lanes are at least 200 years old. Thanks for watching.